Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a special episode of Project Ecology, episode number 155, TP Talk. To all you Yahoo faithful out there, yes, this episode is going to be all about Major League. And if you're thinking, hey guys, this isn't the content you usually cover, I'd say, yeah, this is just a bit outside of our normal content, but I think it's perfect for baseball season. I am 1/4 of your hosts, Rich, and joining me as always this week.
I will start the rotation because this is a strange one where Rich begins the rotation. So I am Dakota. I am another fourth of the podcast hosts here tonight. We are covering Major League, the 1989 baseball comedy. It's a movie I think only one of us has seen prior to this recording. And that one person who has seen this movie has seen it many times and could probably quote most of the film to you. But yeah, I am joined as always with...
Hi, I'm Jen. I think this is going to be our biggest episode yet.
It might be.
This is about to blow us up, guys.
And of course, we can never forget...
Anthony. And yeah, this is going to be the Rich-led episode. So prepare to hear tons of Major League facts from him.
Yeah, Anthony didn't even bother watching the movie. He just assumed it was about baseball in general. So he's just been reading up on Babe Ruth and all those guys.
Yeah, I thought it was just I thought he meant to just like watch a baseball game, which I didn't.
Did you happen to watch your favorite player from the Boston Red Sox, Roman Anthony, in the World Baseball Classic?
Huh?
That was a good response. Guys, this is going to be a fun show. Jen, you were saying that this is going to be our biggest podcast. You never really know what's going to hit in podcast land because we have some episodes, some random ones. I think of like Lilo and Stitch. We did a Lilo and Stitch one and it blew up in France. Only French people listen to that, but like hundreds of them. It was really bizarre. But, here we are.
That's baseball, Susan.
That's
unpredictable.
Yeah, timely. All right, before we jump into our discussion of the Charlie Sheen 1989 baseball film, Anthony, what have you been up to, guy?
Oh, man, just been not watching baseball. And
hey, shots are already being fired.
No, I mean, honestly, do I need to watch baseball when I'm on a podcast with you guys? You guys will update me with all the information.
That's pretty fair.
So I can always expect Rich before and during the podcast to say something about baseball season. So I know more about baseball than I've ever researched because of Rich. I've never researched baseball, but because of Rich, I know more about baseball.
This sounds like most of my students. Like, I don't read what he assigns, but he talks about it a lot. You know what? I guess I learn.
Hey, at least they learned something. But yeah, no, this week I have been double watching One Piece, the anime and then the live action that dropped on Tuesday. We're recording on Wednesday, so yesterday it dropped. I've kind of been savoring that. I'm not binging it. I'm not watching it all in one night. I've been really, I'll just say without saying too much, I've been really enjoying it. I would say as far as this podcast, I am the Rich of One Piece.
I think that's fair to say. Yeah.
Well, as Rich as the baseball, but yeah, no, I have been just blown away by the casting so far. I've been blown away with just what they've put together, and I know that Oda being a part of it is a huge reason why it's been so successful, and it's kind of bittersweet because I really wish that we got the same treatment with Avatar. It's such an amazing IP, and I feel like we could have gotten more from it. At least we got a really good live action One Piece.
Yeah, I'm extremely excited to jump onto season 2 of One Piece. I was blown away with the first season. The first season of the One Piece live action was so good that it got me into reading the manga, which is what the live action is based on. It's not based on the anime, it's based on the manga. So I started reading the manga. I got, I think, 21, 22 volumes in. and I really loved it. I kind of fell off. I forget what I got preoccupied with at the time.
Where were you?
But it's before Robin joins the crew, but I am in Alabasta.
Oh, okay. So you made it up to okay. So this isn't going to be new territory for you. You've made it to the Grand Line in the manga.
Yeah. I have.
Okay.
So I'm very excited, especially now that I know a little bit more about like how this world works and everything. So just a heads up, going into next week, we are covering season 2 of the One Piece live action. Rich, this is good news for you because that means you're going to experience One Piece live action season 1 and 2 for the first time. And I really think you're going to like it. Like it's going to blow you out of the water.
I'm very excited that you guys trust me to watch 2 seasons before next week.
Rich.
I have literally zero issue believing that you could do that.
Right. I know, especially because both seasons are as large as Fallout. They're both 8 episodes long, and you watch season 2 in one day.
I won't lie, but the watching of it in one day was honestly just to do a flex, and I kind of don't want to do that again. It felt like too much. It did feel like too much.
No, I'm pretty
much.
sure that you could knock out season. You could knock out season 1 easily in like a few days. I mean, depending on how you pace it, you probably will knock it out in 2 days. I mean,
right.
knowing you,
Yeah.
like 4 and 4, but
it's one of those things that I remember when we were watching it. Like the episodes just flowed into each other just because it was so like engrossing and exciting. But I haven't started watching the second season yet. I wanted to wait till after this podcast. But what have we been up to, Jen? Not too much, right?
I've been watching footage of other people play Pokopia, and it just looks like a really good game. I'm really enjoying watching the footage of other people playing because it's only for Switch 2, and so my Switch 1 is useless. And I don't want to spend $450 on a new one right now. So I'm just going to watch the content of other people, rich people.
She's been sending me like
enjoying their
reels
lives.
and memes of people like buying Switch 2s specifically to play Pokopia. And I'm like, you have a problem. We're going to have to... this only ends one way. Like, we're going to have to buy a Switch. We're going to have to buy a whole console for this stupid game.
It's like I'm so obsessed with what I can't have. And they have, like, Nintendo released, like, a plushie line, and it's a ton of different Pokemon, but since in Pokopia you play as Ditto, all of the Pokemon have Ditto's, like, really stupid face on it. And Ditto is my favorite Pokemon, so it's just, like, it's a pretty exciting time. A lot of great stuff coming out that is really inaccessible to the average person.
There is Wind and Waves coming out also next year, though. That's the next mainline Pokemon. And it looks pretty good. It's got it's like ocean islands kind of vibe. Like honestly, I feel like you're on the Grand Line in Pokemon essentially.
Oh. I mean, my favorite Zelda game was Wind Waker, so.
Oh yeah.
That kind of checks out for me.
So yeah, it's got that vibe. So maybe eventually, if you get it, you can get that too.
That's true. That's true.
I think this.
I've also been promised that I will be getting cable in the near future. I'd like the podcast to document that I may be receiving cable to watch Yankees baseball. Very exciting.
Nice.
Cable is in the works for me.
Rich, we keep cutting you off. What are you trying to say?
I was going to say, Switch 2 is an investment in future happiness and current happiness. I think it'll pay dividends. I don't see how it's a mistake.
Okay, fair enough. We will see what happens. Rich, what have you been up to this past week?
Well, as you may know, baseball's coming up soon. I just want to sit in the seat, eat a hot dog, and watch some baseball. I just do. But I've been watching the World Baseball Classic, which is kind of like basically baseball doesn't participate. The baseball players don't participate in the Olympics, so this is kind of like their quasi Olympics, where players from Major League Baseball who have some sort of connection to a country will play for that country in a small tournament.
Wait a minute, there's no baseball in the Olympics?
Not that the players can participate in because of the time of year it takes place in. So basically no Major League players participate in the Olympics.
Oh, okay. All right. So it lines up with the Olympics. Oh,
Yeah.
They're like the season. Oh, that sucks.
So this is like a preseason type thing. So it's been fun. There's crazy things like the Italian team, after they hit a home run, they literally have like espresso machine in the dugout, and they like brew it and they're ready. So when the guy finishes his home run, he puts on his like Gucci like suit jacket. He takes some espresso and they double kiss cheek. So like
It's super cute.
so they do, yeah. There's some like fun
It's really
things,
cute.
And the Dominican team, the Dominican League and the Korean League are both known for being very showboaty in terms of celebrations and stuff. So when they hit home run, it's just kind of ridiculous. They have a jacket. I think they were like curling a barbell made of plantains. Just because, like, we're Dominican, so we're going to curl plantains.
Classic Riggy.
Yeah, so I just, that's been fun. I downloaded, I randomly downloaded one of the free games of the month for PlayStation, like PGA Golf 2K25. I don't know, I guess for my Mario Golf kick, I started playing this, so
Is that what's on the screen right now?
Yep, I've defeated Tiger Woods, and I have won every tournament this season. I am disgustingly good at this game. However, I've never felt so judged by my wife as she walked in and looked and said, "This is what you're doing?" She's like, "At least when you're playing Fallout, it makes sense, but golf?" And then, I'm telling you, she got transported. She's like, "Whoa, that's a nice shot. Wow, look at that." And I was like, "You got hooked. It's not so bad." But I'm really just in a holding pattern for baseball to come out Friday. And yeah, I haven't. That's because all of the shows like Knights of the Southern Kingdom ended and Fallout ended. So I've just I think that's what's been going on with me lately. I don't have a North Star to kind of get me back on track. I kind of finished Red Dead again, so, and I will pass it over to Anthony. But first, Dakota, some people might go, "Oh, look, he's got a background of Major League because he's got a nice team shot." But eagle-eyed people would know that's from Major League 2, because that is Omar Epps, and that is not Wesley Snipes, who randomly reprised the role of Willie Mays Hayes.
No.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't even know that there was a Major League 2. Sorry, yeah, usually, guys, obviously you guys don't know, we sometimes will grab random stills from movies or promotional stills and use it as like our Zoom backgrounds while we record something in that topic, So I chose a team pick for the Indians from this movie, thinking that it was from this movie. I guess it's not. I didn't look hard enough, I guess.
There are 3 movies, sir. Maybe, Anthony, I'm sure would love one day to cover the other 2. But Anthony, what were you up to this week?
Yeah, maybe on the weeks that, I'm unavailable,
There we go. Yeah, all right. So I look forward to it.
So, yeah, put those in your pocket.
Yeah.
Hey, Anthony already said what he's up
Oh,
to.
I'm sorry. I spazzed.
Right? One Piece?
Yeah.
Yeah,
you've
sorry.
been
Wait, am I
Piece.
wrong? Okay.
Looking for Rich is trying to pass it over to me for the 2-piece.
All right, guys, I think we should jump into our discussion of Major League, the 1989 film. I think, Rich, you should probably lead the discussion today because... No, actually, you know what? Before we go too hard into that, I want to know what Anthony and Jen thought about the movie as a whole first. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Were there parts that got you into it or whatever? We'll start with Anthony.
I think it's a fun, underdog movie. It's always, to me, generally, I think it's a fun time to like watch movies about like an underdog kind of achieving, like Mighty Ducks.
It did have a Mighty Ducks feel, yeah. I'd love to cover Mighty Ducks one day, actually. I haven't seen it since I was a kid. Rich is giving us 2 thumbs up for that. But not next week, Rich. You got to double team One Piece. All right?
No problem.
You got 2 pieces.
I can handle it. I can handle it.
Yeah. I too liked the fact that it was a underdog movie. You know what I really liked? I think a lot of people don't get baseball just as a concept. Like they watch it and they get bored or whatever. Anthony's like pointing at himself here. So what I liked about this movie is that it made the excitement around that final game really easy to follow and easy to get involved with. There was no questioning like where they were in like the scope of the game. It was easy to follow. And I think that anyone who doesn't know baseball can learn a thing or two about how it's played and the rules of the game just by watching a very realistic game that's played. I feel like I've seen games like that, that ends in that way, and it's very exciting sometimes. That's what I will say about the movie that I like the most, is that it just makes baseball a little bit more accessible while not like dumbing it down for the sake of laughs.
My favorite like ridiculous baseball things though is at the end when they decide on the final play, basically, right? Like the fact that Jake's at the plate and he's just touching his brim, and then the coach is like, well, that's a heck of an idea, right? Like I just love that so much was communicated in like those, like, and it's not a normal play to try to bunt and take two bases. And I don't know if like the pointing in the him pointing to left field was part of that signal, right? But I like to believe that somehow there's a signal for like, I'm going to pretend to point to hit a home run like Babe Ruth did in the 1937 World Series. Right? Like the fact that you can do that and someone gets something that specific, that's the only thing I think in the entire movie that they kind of hand wave away and they go like, you got to accept this.
Yeah. Jen, did you like the movie? What did you like?
I actually really liked the movie. I've been like struggling to focus on stuff in general lately, and this was a movie that I just was like sitting like focused on, not sleepy at all, even though I actually was quite sleepy. It just kept me really interested. I liked that the comedy wasn't in your face. Like it was, I mean, it's like, I don't know. I have a hard time defining slapstick, to be honest.
Yeah, well, it's not slapstick.
It's not like,
it's not.
I
not
was expecting it to be more
humor.
like in-your-face, stupid humor.
I was expecting more of like an Anchorman sort of thing.
Yeah,
but
and then I was like,
yeah.
oh, this is really like cute. And I like to go with what Anthony was saying. It's not like that the team are just underdogs. It's like each individual player on the team is an underdog, except for the one that's kind of a jerk. And then when he becomes an underdog, we actually like him better. When his wife cheats on him, you're like, and he, he kind of becomes part of the team by taking a hit.
Roger Dorn. I thought we didn't have any high-priced talent. We don't. He's just high-priced. So that's the line about Dorn.
Why did Charlie Sheen's character give me like the baseball version of the Longest Yard like vibes?
Well, yeah, because he was playing in the California Penal League before he joined up with the Red Sox. Oh, you got me confused because of that cursed Red Sox thing, Anthony, because of the Indians. By the way, just shout out to, he's never gonna listen to this, but shout out to our coworker Greg, who when I asked him about Marvel, I was like, isn't like Guardians of the Galaxy your favorite movie? He's like, I liked it better when it was Indians of the Galaxy. And it hit both. It hit a Marvel thing, it hit a baseball thing, and it really warmed my heart. Because the Indians are now the Guardians. So
they changed the name and the logo of the Indians into the Guardians because it's considered really racist.
I see what you're saying. Yes, yeah. So, there was a couple lines in there that, or like just things in general, where I was just like, that would not go today. Like, hit it out of the reservation or something like that. I was just like,
off the reservation. And that's like tame, right? Because
that is tame. That's fairly tame.
Because there's one home run where he's like, oh, he hit that one to South America. He's going to need a visa to catch that one. But, off the reservation, and then the fact that the weekly show is called TP Talk, and there are a lot of, they do lean into it.
But in baseball, they still kind of reference it. Like, I think it was last season that the Yankees beat the Guardians, and they posted on their Instagram a picture of them like all together, and the caption was, "This land is your land, this land is our land." I was like, man, they're just gonna like get away with whatever they can, I guess.
I like how they made the Yankees the bad guys of the movie. It's just they're the bad guys in baseball in general, just because
everybody hates the
everyone
Yankees.
That doesn't live in New York hates them, basically. Even some people who live in New York hate them. But
who could do that? That's crazy.
I started watching it and I was like, of course, Rich's favorite movie has the Yankees as the villains.
That's probably why it's his favorite.
Yes.
It's like, because I didn't know that in advance, and I'm a Yankees fan, and so I started playing. I'm like, of course we're the villains. Like, why didn't I see this coming?
I love that the Yankees like outfits have not changed whatsoever since this movie.
There was one scene in the last game, I think, where I accidentally rooted for the Yankees, but I forgot I'm supposed to be rooting for the Indians. And I think they get a guy out, and I was like, and then it's just that the uniforms are the same, so I got confused in the heat of the moment.
Yeah,
It's happened to me before. I've embarrassingly, if the Mets are wearing a different uniform, I have
Oh, it gets so confusing.
been in confusion. Been in started clapping. And I'm like, oh crap, what am I doing?
When you're in the stadium and do that, it's super embarrassing.
So embarrassing.
It's really embarrassing. I've done that where sometimes I just can't see that well, and then I start clapping at the wrong moment. I'm like, wait, and Dakota's like, you're confused. You're confused. Stop.
I loved Michael Sheen's glasses. They're just like book reading glasses that he brought to the pitch. I loved it. It was so.
Wait, Michael Sheen?
Charlie Sheen. Sorry.
Is there a Michael Sheen?
There is a Michael
His
Sheen.
brother?
Yeah.
Or is that his dad?
No,
one of them.
no, his brother is he's Charlie Sheen. His
doesn't have a
father is
Sheen
Martin
last name.
Sheen, and his brother
And
is Emilio Estevez, who's in
Emilio, yeah.
Mighty Ducks.
I've never seen Mighty Ducks either, and I didn't know anything about that whole situation. Like Dakota was explaining this to me the other day, that it started as a movie and then they made a team, or did they start as a team?
No, they made the movie and then they started the team,
which is so cute. That's really cute, and their logo is really cute.
And then they I think Disney sold. We're going way off topic. Yeah, let's reel it back in. But yeah, I liked his look. Like he had like a really cool look, and that era of Charlie Sheen, he's just such a handsome dude. He just has such a gravity on screen, and it's really, I don't know. I get such like a nostalgic vibe whenever I see Charlie Sheen from that time period, that it kind of gives me like Ferris Bueller's Day Off vibes.
Mm-hmm. He looked a lot better in this movie than in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a character, but
yeah. One thing that I liked about this movie was that it captured like the little traditions. I don't know the word I'm looking for, of baseball, where like every season you kind of like come up with inside jokes for the team, and then they'll have like merch for it, and people will hold up signs for it. So like for Charlie Sheen's character, it was Wild Thing, and I love that he was famous for being a wild pitcher, but then he actually, he gets good later, but it's just really funny. Like I don't know, I feel like baseball, there's always just little inside jokes among the team. Like I remember the Yankees had Luke Voigt a few years back, and like the inside joke was that like all of the men wanted to go build a log cabin with him, and it was an oddly specific joke. And then they wanted to go like live in a log cabin with Luke Voigt, and then like it was like a whole thing. And if you weren't a fan, you wouldn't have known like that this was actually going on. But it was just a ridiculous joke.
There's actually a player on the Phillies, probably in the late '90s, who took on the name Wild Thing. He was Mitch Williams, and he was actually so sometimes wild that there are actually shots of like the starting pitcher sitting with a towel over his head, so he didn't have to watch what was going to happen on the mound.
Anthony, did you have a favorite character or characters from the story?
I thought it was funny. You see, like, especially like earlier in the movie, there's like those three guys that are like mega fans. And I was like, that's rich right there. That is rich. I was like, that is rich. I said the Mets could be like 2 and 180, and like they'd be, I don't know, how many games do they play now? I think they like cut it down, right? Since then?
162.
It was like,
less.
It was that much, right? Like 180, right? Back then at one point?
I think at this, and I think they said 100 and, no, I think they said 162.
Yeah.
Was it 160?
Yeah, it was still 162 here. But before that, I think it was more.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But yeah, like Rich would still be going to those games.
I mean, there's the one when he hits the one home run, he goes, it's too high. And he's like, what do you mean too high? It's freaking out of here. But like, I could see myself being like, no, fighting like logic and being like, no, that ball's just too high. It's going to die before it gets out of the park, and yeah, I mean, there's actually, we'll never watch it together, but there's, is it Dennis Quaid? No, Randy Newman is I think it's one of the Quaid brothers, Randy Quaid. He's the brother from National Lampoons. So he's in the second one, and he's like a diehard who then snaps. Like they're so bad that he like can't take it anymore, and he like becomes like a hater, and he comes and he boos them for like games and games, and then finally they win him back over, and he like rips off his like anti-Indians attire, and he's like, I am back, you know, like, and that's the guy who, if you ever, Anthony, just want to see what would happen, what's going to happen to me one day, I'm going to snap, you know, deride the team, but still go to the games to deride them, right? Like, I won't stay home and just yell from my TV. No, I'll go inside and I'll be like, I hate you, you know, and then one day they'll
It's
win.
literally Neil.
It's like, joke's
Our
on
friend
you.
Neil just shows up to the game and like roasts his own team the entire time.
Joke's on you. They got your money.
Well, true.
Yeah. But speaking of those 3 or 4 fans in the beginning, I also really thought that they were funny, and it didn't like hit me at first like why they were all dressed up like that, and then I realized, oh, because they're fans of the Indians. They had drums, and they had chieftain hats and everything, and war paint. I started dying laughing when it clicked. And I think a lot of the jokes in this movie are not necessarily jokes at face value, but they are ironically funny.
Oh.
And I think I would imagine that this movie gets funnier the more you watch it, because I wasn't like laughing like crazy, but there were a couple moments where I was laughing out loud, you know. So
Bob Uecker, I think Bob Uecker, his name in the movie is Harry Doyle, but Bob Uecker is a legitimate broadcaster. He recently died a couple of years ago, but he had been broadcasting for the Brewers for like 60 something years. He was they called him Mr. Baseball, but he was a terrible baseball player. Like, just absolutely putrid. And he just played he played a drunk version of himself, but he would drop lines like, you know, and the Indians drop a heartbreaker 7-1, you know, like, or like, you know, just got nipped, you know, like 9-2. Like, he would like really sugarcoat like and like that, for me, watching it 1,000 times, like, that's the small stuff that gets me, right? Because the language of like, you know, dropped a heartbreaker 7-1. That's not a heartbreaker, you know? And then when he finally snaps and he's like, what do we get? We got a 1 run on 1 goddamn hit. Like, all we got was 1 goddamn hit, you know? Like, I just...
I don't think you could say goddamn.
Yeah.
You can't say goddamn in this podcast, Rich.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm not sure.
I'm joking.
No,
I'm joking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I've never said anything like that. But no, he... Like, I think
the
movie...
the fact he's like, I don't think anyone's listening, is... I laughed out loud at
that part was really funny.
Like when he's like, hey, Monty, you got anything to add? And he's like, they don't call him the best color game in the business for nothing, folks. It's just completely unironically, you know?
What do we think about the Cuban guy, the Cuban voodoo guy with the terrible Spanish accent?
Okay. As some of you may know, I am of Cuban descent. And I have been lied to a lot in my life, okay? I have been told that someone was Cuban when they weren't. My favorite wrestler is not Cuban. He was born in Detroit, Michigan. But I believed that he was a Cuban from Miami. And he was my favorite wrestler for a long time. And I loved Pedro Serrano. I have my own Jobu, which I showed to the other members of the podcast today. I have my own Jobu in my house. I sometimes do put liquor in the shot glass in front of him, and then sometimes I do say...
I was wondering why the shot glass is in front of him.
I do will say, F you, Jobu, I'm do this myself. What I actually say...
Serrano, are we to understand that... Because he kind of says, like, please, like he's like appealing to Jobu, and then he says, if not, then F you, I'll do it myself. That run that he actually like hit, are we to believe that was by the power of Jobu or his own power?
His own power.
Because he was missing I was a little bit confused.
But also...
Wait, I interpreted that differently. Because I thought, like, we've already seen the power of Jobu because, like, that guy got hit in the head with the bat. And then later it's like, if you don't help me, then, like, I'm going to do it myself. But, like, I thought it was supposed to, like, he said, if you don't help me, then I'm going to say F you, Jobu. He never says it. We don't see him say it.
No, he says... It's kind of... No, I'm sorry.
I mean, I just watched this, like, 20 minutes ago
broken
one time,
Spanish.
so Rich knows more.
I understand, yeah.
So he's going like, oh, help me know, Jobu? So now I say, I do it myself. Like, it's bad. It's supposed to be bad, like bad grammar. Like he's a Hispanic baseball player,
Okay.
so he doesn't like express it correctly. Because for some reason, although he's Cuban and they're implying the voodoo and Santeria background of Cuba, which is, you know, whatever, offensive, but like I love stereotypes, so I'll embrace it. But I love that
stereotypes exist for a reason. It's not something that doesn't exist.
I love that he doesn't curse out Jobu, his deity that he brought from home, in his home language. Not once. You know, like
that's true.
Like
yeah,
so
actually,
he curses, you know, other people out, but I mean, he doesn't do that. So Serrano, I believed kind of. You know, because I was like 10, guys. I was 10 when I first watched this movie, so I believed he was Cuban. I had no reason to believe otherwise.
So sorry.
That what is his name? That's not Dennis Haskins, but it's he's the guy from the State Farm commercials. We do get some like little appearances. There's the janitor from Scrubs. He's the construction worker who's like, "Oh, who's this team?" You know, like just I love those.
I recognized him. Yeah,
those little vignettes of like people complaining about the roster, and then like as they get better, like, oh well, they're still crappy or whatever. You know, I could have the one thing, and I'm not sure if this is because like I could take out the whole storyline with Lynn, which is, you know, the more you watch it, disturbing,
the worse it gets.
Like disturbing, you know.
I like how she never, like, nobody ever locks their door and he just like walks in without knocking. He just follows people home and just walks in.
The fact that he was able to go into an elevator, just click a floor, and then he's in someone's house, like with no key, no like special code or anything. Amazing.
It's the 80s.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's the 80s. It's like wait, I don't even think that's. Like, you know what's more unbelievable to me? That Pedro Serrano, in a baseball movie, hit a home run and carried the bat past first base and they didn't call him out. Like, that is illegal. You cannot do that. You cannot do that in baseball. It is so accurate for baseball, most of the movie. But no, man just runs around with a bat. Like, that is so highly illegal. It's crazy.
Wait, I love that Lynn's license plate is Reed. It's just as Reed. And I like that it implies like she lost herself to the books and like he's helped her find herself by bringing her back to sports, because that's like her true calling.
We might need to show this to the librarian, because I think because the best part is that it sounds like Lynn is a dedicated athlete up until 3 years ago. And now she's really into books. Just like, you know what? Forget about this. I never liked books, but let me try them. And now she's like, I've amassed the most amazing collection in any library in the United States here in Chicago. It's like, what? Oh, Cleveland. Sorry.
I feel like and this is what I was saying to Dakota when watching the movie, like if Lynn has any friends, they hate her right now. They hate her so much for going back to him after she threw a birthday party and like one of his mistresses came to the door just like, you know what I mean? Well, like there was just so much wrong.
No, even worse than that.
And then he disappears to Mexico where he's hooking up with random chicks, as we saw in the beginning of the film. And then he comes back and is like, I'm obsessed with you. I'm going to ruin your engagement. What? And I like that his key like personality trait is that he's manipulative. Like even in baseball, he's also manipulative. Like the way that he wins is by just like bullying and like making fun of people. And his last call was him manipulating the pitcher into going for him first because he hates him so much.
You know what the most unrealistic thing about the movie for me was?
What?
She said that the wedding was on October 3rd,
Here he goes.
which lands on a Tuesday in 1989. If they're really like wealthy, like why would they ever choose Tuesday for a wedding? It baffles me.
I have watched this movie. I don't think I exaggerate when I say that you could take the script and just read me a line and I know what the next line is, okay? And I have never once ever considered that. That's wow.
I'm so excited for you to tell that detail to Lauren so she can judge Dakota.
So I just want to share. So I've watched the movie so many times that I decided I was going to watch the director's cut before we had the podcast. So I kind of found out some interesting tidbits about the filming.
Oh, cool.
So first, there were 400 extras that they brought in to be the stadium people. So they just had to keep...
I was really impressed. I was impressed with the amount of like stadium
they kept
people.
moving them around, basically.
Okay.
All right. So,
that's hilarious.
I do have favorites in the crowd. I will say Wild Child, and there's also a guy who...
I have favorites in the crowd.
Yeah, like I've watched it so much that we would like point to the screen and we'd be like, here comes the guy with the glasses. Here comes the Wild Child. Like we know the crowd people, but Yeah,
Oh,
I
God.
really, so that was really cool. Like that they were just shifting everything around, like obviously the big stadium shots were of like an actual baseball game and not this. But I thought that was really cool. I also, so the original ending is different.
What do you
They
mean?
actually changed. Okay, so, the story is that Rachel Phelps is a former playgirl or like an exotic dancer or something whose husband died, and she wants to
Okay.
move the team to Florida, and she does so by she wants to do it. The loophole with the city is if the attendance gets low enough, I can move them,
Yeah.
right? And then she's
So is that why there's like they were able to find a picture of her essentially naked?
yes,
I was,
I was confused
dude. I was
by
like,
that.
where did they get?
yeah,
that?
no. So she's like the ex. She's like the ex, like showgirl wife of this
Okay.
guy, and he died, and now she doesn't want to live in Cleveland, so she wants to move the team to Miami. So they get, she invites what she thinks are like the worst people in baseball to be on this team, so that they'll lose and be so bad that nobody comes to watch them. So like,
So,
Yeah.
so I actually did learn something, Rich.
yeah.
I did learn something. I was so confused. I was like, wait a second. Didn't they already have a Florida team? No, this actually
No.
happened before the
Yes.
expansion. So I was like, oh, okay. I was like, that's why.
So it was,
I learned, see?
it made sense. The other cool thing is that the Indians were legitimately not a bad. They were legitimately a bad team. So it was a great, it was a great choice for them. But so essentially, there's a scene that's cut from the movie, and that she admits, she actually says, the truth is like that I wanted these guys to win, and that basically that her husband had tied their money up. So she actually grabbed a roster full of guys who had like a talent but a flaw. So like, Charlie Sheen's a great pitcher, but he's in prison. Serrano's an amazing hitter, but with fastballs, but he can't hit breaking pitches. So basically all of these pieces she admits she selected because that was the only way for her to kind of put this good roster together with the money she had.
Oh, so she wasn't the villain in the end?
Well, apparently test audiences hated that so much that they're like, absolutely not.
It does completely go against her motives throughout the entire movie. So if they
But I like
suddenly
the idea of like her manipulating them to give them a common enemy and like unite the team.
And that's what she kind of says in the
Okay.
scene.
like it's like psychological.
Okay, I can see that. I
manipulation.
can see it. I can see it.
But I could see why people, especially back then, would hate that. If you were like told hate this character this whole time, and then in the end it's like, oh, they were the good guy. That kind of happens with Darth Vader, though, like in a way. But it's a comeback. Like he was genuinely terrible. It's not that he was
It's a
secretly
different.
unterrible.
I think it's a different like story altogether. But
Really, I thought she and Darth Vader had so much in common.
she does.
Remember that
you
scene
know?
where they get that naked picture of Anakin? And the Jedi are like removing his clothes. It's the scene where he like wakes up in bed from his nightmare.
Oh man, yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna let's see. I'm gonna ask you guys a couple of questions. See how you guys.
March 1st.
Yeah, I like how you were like, Rich is gonna lead this one, and that hasn't happened yet.
So
March.
I know.
To answer your question, March 1st was the first day of spring training.
So I know I've watched a lot of. I've watched this many times. I did hear you guys say that like the characters' names weren't really sticking too much.
I kind of got them by the end. When you say them out loud, I remember. Oh yeah, okay, that's that character. That's that character. But yeah, it wasn't. There was a couple of the guys that I thought kind of looked alike at the beginning, and I was kind of having a hard time telling them apart, like Taylor and
Dorn.
whatever his
Dorn?
Dorn.
Dorn.
Yeah.
They kind of have similar builds and faces. So I was a little bit confused. I kept getting those two mixed up, but I figured it out in the end.
Anthony, did you have any issues with the characters?
Yep. I don't remember any of them.
Why'd you say that like Eeyore?
Yeah, actually, you did.
I don't know. No, I mean, I just know a couple of I just know them by like their actor names. Like I just know Wesley Snipes and then Charlie Sheen.
I did like Wesley Snipes' character a lot. Like he's got so much charisma on screen, and what I kind of another thing I liked was just the fact that all of these actors seem to be fairly competent at baseball. I'm sure some like cutting was involved and editing to make them look better than they were, but they looked like they knew what they were doing, which I was kind of surprised by.
So Charlie Sheen legitimately did pitch, and what they did was, I believe they moved the mound 10 feet. So the mound is currently, I think if I'm right, it's like 66.1 inches or something like that away from the plate. They moved it 10 feet so that when he threw, it seemed much faster. So that's why the way they kind of angled it was to make sure that you never kind of saw the distance. It was either behind the catcher or like behind. They really didn't show like a wide shot to show how close he was, because then he wouldn't line up with third and first base.
Did they use any actual baseball players? Like for the Yankees team, were any of those like actual players? They may not have been Yankees, but like they seemed professional.
I do not believe so. To my knowledge, none of the actors in the movie were professional players. Not in the first one, but I might be wrong because I don't know the Yankee squad as well as I do. But like they're not as like there's nobody there that was like the big bad guy was kind of supposed to be like a Don Mattingly-esque character. So I think a lot of the casting. I love, by the way, the Duke. The Duke was the closer for the Yankees, and here comes the Duke. This guy, he hit his own kid in a father-son game. So I love that little fact. Like, I honestly think that I wouldn't like this movie if it weren't for it's Bob Uecker. I think like he's a real broadcaster, but I think he's effortlessly good at being in this movie. It's just. I love when he takes the mic and like, listen to the fans in Cleveland roar, and it's just him and the guy like clapping like, yeah, let's go, like in different voices, like I think that it's him. Like for me, I like, obviously I like that it's baseball, but like Dakota said, it really isn't as much baseball as you think it is. So like, you have to just a cursory understanding of the game to be able to watch it, which I think, but it doesn't feel like it's a movie about tons of other stuff either, where I feel like sometimes you go to watch a movie about baseball and it's, Jimmy Fallon getting married, and you're like, hey, I wanted to just watch a movie about baseball, guy, and I think...
Well, I don't know. I thought there was the theme of baseball can help us overcome religious divides.
Well...
Between Cuban voodoo and Jesus.
Oh yeah, no, that was.
They hugged at the end.
If you guys only know,
I was like, what's up with that Cuban stereotype that he's got to be dabbling in Santeria?
Don't worry, because
we should just bring baseball over to Iran, and that'll fix all of the religious divides going on.
He becomes, just so you guys know, he becomes a Buddhist in the second movie. So he kind of
wait, who?
Oh no, Joe Boo is gone. Like
he actually genuinely quits his religion.
Yes.
Okay, my interpretation of this film was way off. I thought it was like he was like, "Don't give up on me now," and then Joe Boo helped him.
No, man. No.
Then he like hugged his Jesus friend at the end.
All right, so there was a major league player on the Yankees. He was the Yankee in the movie. His name was Clu Haywood.
Oh my goodness, that's the big bad guy with the mustache.
Yeah, his name is Pete Vukovich in real life. He played for the Cardinals and Brewers, and he was a 1982 AL Cy Young Award winner.
Okay, so see, that's... wait, did you say Cy Young Award winner?
Yeah. American League.
Well, that's weird. Unless I'm misinterpreting it, I thought Clu Haywood was the batter, not the pitcher. So it's weird that he would have been a Cy Young winner, but they had him play a batter.
But maybe that gave him...
He was playing a slugger in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
He's a pitcher in real life.
Yeah, he spits tobacco exactly twice before the final pitch comes through.
Yes.
It was so gross.
Yes.
I hate the way he did that.
And that's one of those moments where I was just like, this guy seems like a real baseball player.
Seems legit.
Like I don't know. We got our hands on this when we were like 10 or 11, and basically we would watch this. Like we would get together in the summer and watch this, and then we'd go play baseball for like an hour to a couple hours, and then we would come home and we'd watch it again, like eating sunflower seeds. So like I've just seen this movie so many darn times, man. Like
I feel like the Sandlot would have been more up your alley, since it involves kids playing baseball and then kind of going around and then going to play baseball.
I think it was the feeling of this is an adult movie. You know what I mean? Like it it wasn't a movie aimed for kids, so it felt like I shouldn't be watching this, but I was kind of getting away with watching it because like my parents didn't know, my grandfather wasn't paying attention to the movie, you know, so he just saw baseball on the screen. So I think that it felt a little bit like I was breaking the rules, and I think that's kind of part of why I liked it too, because, you know, there was cursing, and, you know, like if my mom had sat down and watched it, she would have been like, you can't watch this. But she never did, so I was able to watch it thousands of times.
Man, I don't know what to tell you, but I definitely watched the Austin Power movies when I was a kid, so and those are worse.
Yeah,
I mean, like, it's worse, but it doesn't show anything.
What?
It's just bad in like,
hey,
the
is that a
innuendos.
Giant Johnson? What are you doing? You know what's on that screen? Like that whole
the visuals and like the innuendos. That's what made it like
the
very
Asian
adult.
girls. Was it Fook me and Fook you?
Oh yeah.
Like that was
Actually, was it? They have a moment like that in was it in one of the Rush Hour movies? Oh my gosh,
yeah,
dude, he's like, "Who are you? I am you."
Those movies are good too. I love them.
This was an interesting choice to cover. I know for a fact it's something that Anthony and I alone would have never come up with. If you would have given us, if every week we had 5 choices for movies and this movie was like in that 5 movie list every week for 100 episodes, we would not choose this movie. So it's so out of our wheelhouse. But ultimately, I got to see a new movie, and I got to have a good time with it. It was a very exciting final act, and I'm glad we covered it, just because I do want to cover stuff that I would not normally choose, just because, you know, there's only so many things that that I've grown up with or that I consider like my realm of geeky. But it was fun. I had a good time.
I'll say, like, I probably found this because, you know, before Blockbuster even, my mom would have memberships at like 3 or 4 local video rental stores, and I had a very close relationship. I was in there so often renting video games and stuff like that I would also, I'd rent wrestling. That's where I got all my wrestling videos, because back then you couldn't just like watch old videos, you know, old stuff online or whatever. And I think it would just literally walked around the store and saw a movie about baseball. And like this guy, despite the rating, said, yeah, whatever, I know your ma, and let us take it. You know, and I think I watched an interesting video before we started recording, and it's this guy talking about how boredom is kind of the push, the motivating drive for us as humans to like go out and try things and do things. And, you know, like now that we have so much technology at home, we don't try things as much. But I mean, it got to the point where, like, you know, you'd go to these rental stores and they were only so big. So like you just ran out of options for movies almost, you know. Yeah. And I think that was kind of I don't think that this is a movie that I would have fallen upon. Like, my dad has never told me that he likes this movie. This isn't because my dad said, hey kid, let's watch this baseball movie so you can get into baseball. Like, this was all me. Like, this was just, I found it. I thought it was like kind of hilarious. I've watched it, and I think that it has intelligence and nuance in like the humor, like that's embedded in there. I don't, you know, I like that it's not, I feel like Rookie of the Year, for like, if I'm going to be comparing baseball movies, or you know, it's a little bit more kiddie, and this felt like it wasn't a movie that was marketed towards kids, you know, at all. But it was definitely something that I thought, you know, you didn't have a lot of options, and it felt real. It felt a little bit more gritty than, let's say, Sandlot.
Rich, you probably have a better grasp on what I'm trying to vocalize, but I'm sure there's plenty of baseball movies out there. I've only seen a handful. When other people rank their favorite baseball movies, does this rank among them?
Yeah. I mean,
generally,
you know, you have like Field of Dreams is like, you know, a lot of people's favorite because of the kind of Field of Dreams is more about like the, you know, the way baseball makes you feel in your heart, you know, like, and how it kind of fosters relationships between like fathers and sons, kind of essentially, in some ways, you know, like. But I think that most people would have this in their top 5 easily for baseball movies. I mean, some people really like The Natural. I'm not a huge fan of The Natural, to be honest with you. With Robert Redford, it's a good one, but it just wasn't my cup of tea. I think there was something about this happening in the 90s. And what's interesting about the movie is, I don't know if you guys realize it, they win a 1-game playoff in this structure, and if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, but I think at this time it was basically the first place team from the American League East and the first place team from the American League West, and they would face off against each other in the American League Championship, and then that team would go to the World Series.
Series. Yeah.
There weren't a lot of steps, but the movie ends with the celebration is that they won first place and they're going to move to the championship, but we never get to see that. It's a lot of times you see these movies and they win the championship, and here they don't. It's just about the fact that these lovable
it's
losers,
just that they're moving on to the next step.
They're
still in the game.
And then of course, I mean, sadly, the next movie brings us to the championship series and then ends. Okay, it ends. That's it. And then the third one, you're so excited because you're like, they're finally going to do it, right? Major League back to the minors, where randomly they have like other people. It's like there's almost nobody from the original movie, and it's like he's coaching a minor league baseball
Is it
team.
like one of those like straight to DVD sequels?
Yeah, I believe that was the case. Yes.
Okay.
So the franchise took a big nosedive. I won't lie to you. If you watch this movie, I can't say that you're going to walk away and be like, my time was definitely wasted. If you watch Major League Back to the Minors, the third one, do not complain to me. I am telling you openly, it is only for people who deeply love the franchise. All right? And even number 2, the only thing I can tell you about number 2 that might make you want to watch it is that my favorite governor, and I hope some of yours, Jesse the Body Ventura, who of course was governor of Minnesota and was formerly a wrestler and also in Predator, makes a appearance in the second movie because the Wesley Snipes character becomes too big for his britches and believes that he's now destined to become a Hollywood star. Like, the movie is legitimately Charlie Sheen
Crazy?
becomes like a pretty boy, like who's like dressing nice and like advertising for Right Guard deodorant. And he kind of loses his way. There's a big drop off. So I would just tell everyone who's listening to this, watch Major League, but if you go forward, do so at your own peril.
Well, but Wesley
to
Snipes
know.
wasn't
Good to
wrong
know.
because he goes on to become Blade at some point. And then, eventually joins the MCU in a way.
And as far as like Charlie Sheen being like the pretty boy and everything, we do see that he's on that cover of People's Magazine from September 13th, 1989. So, sorry,
You guys need to understand that my life is watching movies with Dakota, and like every time there's a paper on the screen, he goes back and pauses it.
Wait, so did you look at
I'm
the
like, well-
newspaper clippings? Did you look at the dates for
Yes.
the
I did.
Yes, he did.
I did. It wasn't, the dates were anachronisms. So like anything there it didn't really add to my understanding of the timeline. But I thought it was cool still. I like when movies do the newspaper clippings just because it feels like you're getting chunks of history thrown at you at a time. And I like that they kind of did that in the beginning where they just kind of showcase like the Indians suck, guys. They are really bad. And this is why there's nobody on the team. This is starting from scratch. So I thought that was pretty fun.
They're so
would've
bad
liked-
that they have 2 Japanese men emphasize it every time.
There's actually a video game, King of Free Junior Baseball, that came out for Super Nintendo. And I want to say the first one came out in 91. And I think it stole from this movie because their way around of not having great graphics and stuff while you were like, at the end of a game was that it would have the newspaper clipping. And like it would have like what happened in that game, kind of like a kitschy like result thing, like Indians beat the Yanks 4-2, or whatever. And I kind of almost always thought that it kind of reflected that, the fact that this movie did, because I think it's such a great way to. It's such a great way to not keep you bored, like the 2 guys sliding into home plate. He tags them out because it's always what I'll call the bang bang plays, the big plays, and then they. I realize that as if you're not a baseball fan, I think that it does a good job of just keeping you hooked.
another scene that I really liked. Some of the earlier introductions to the characters, like Wesley Snipes' character, when they realize he was never invited, so they take his bed frame while he's still asleep, and he wakes up outside and he goes, "I'm already off the team," something like that.
Like,
I'm already
Poop,
cut.
I've been cut already. Yeah,
And then he just like, they're doing those sprints and he's like sprinting in his pajamas.
And the fact that he highlights the fact that his name is Willie Mays Hayes, right? So like he's trying to reference that, essentially like he's got the skill set of Willie Mays, one of the greatest baseball players of all time. Like you can easily say that Willie Mays is like top 25 of all time. And this guy walks into training camp not invited, and he says, I hit like Mays, but I run like Hayes." So it's just and I love
I didn't understand what that meant. I was like,
it's literally like I
didn't know what that meant. Okay.
I'm just as good as one of the best batters of all time, but I'm faster than him. Also. So or man, the beginning of the movie where it's like, it's been 15 seasons, or the beginning of the season, it's been 15 seasons since an Indian has led off with a hit, and there's like a little bit of enthusiasm, and then he gets picked off because he's standing off first base, and the first baseman's like,
God.
"Hey, meat, how are you gonna run with your shoes untied?" And he looks down, and I also think that it also uncovers a little bit of what I'll call the seedy side of baseball, like little kind of cheap tricks that players do use against each other, and they'll try to kind of trick rookies and things like that. So I kind of, I'm not going to say it's like inside baseball, but I do like a little bit of that peek behind the curtain where these guys aren't so nice to each other. There are times where you see them, shake hands and whatever, but just the other day, two teammates that played together in Seattle last year and did very well are playing against each other in the World Baseball Classic. And Randy Arozarena goes to basically dap up one of his boys who's on his team, who's playing against him in this tournament, and the catcher just he's like, nope. He doesn't dap him up. He's like, no, I'm not gonna. Basically, we're enemies now, and it's like,
oh my God,
it's like they have to go back to the same team, that's crazy, But there is this little kind of drama in baseball that I enjoy.
I gotta say, psychologically, that's gotta be so weird. If you've been, because when Jen and I started watching the Yankees around 2018, you get really attached to a certain team, a certain lineup. And then the next year, it's somewhat similar, or it is pretty similar to the previous lineup, but some of your favorite players have been traded. It must be so weird for players who literally live their lives with these people for 3 whole seasons every single year to suddenly be traded to another team and just expected to not be friends with the people who you have been playing with for the past who knows how many years. I think it's such a strange culture in that respect where it's got to be awkward.
And then the fans expect instant
friends.
Chemistry, which is the worst. Yeah, no.
But I feel like sometimes too when they leave to other teams, you kind of realize that they weren't actually friends. When the Mets got Soto, when they were playing with the Yankees, you would have thought Judge, Soto, and Stanton were all the best of pals. And then as soon as he left the team, he immediately started making digs at Judge. Yeah. So you could tell they hated each other, but they, you kind of have to put on this air that the team has chemistry because you want the fans to believe that the team has the magic to make it. And if there's bad chemistry, they won't.
But sometimes you can tell when a team does have chemistry.
And that's what I like about this movie is that it does capture for me a lot of, as an English teacher, a lot of the reasons why I like baseball is it's very psychological, and also there's a lot of characterization. Each year we get a little lineup and you start to get to know the characters. I know how certain characters can eat an entire banana in one bite. You learn weird facts about these guys and you get attached to them. But then when they get traded, I get when we lost Didi Gregorius, I was really upset. I really liked Didi. He was one of my favorite players on the team. Or when I was a kid, I loved Alfonso Soriano. He was just a player I really got attached to and liked. And then they leave and you're like, what the heck? That was my person.
I don't. We probably shouldn't get into that, but I may have shared earlier at some point in the show that Peter Morgan Alonso is my favorite Met, and he just left, gosh. And it was bad, guys. It wasn't good.
It was bad.
Jen had to buy me emergency hot dogs. It was It was not good. It was not a good time.
Emergency hot
I
dogs.
literally
I walked into a room with him just weeping.
Yeah,
Mind you, like, I was his friend when his grandfather died, and we didn't get such emotion. And I walked into a room and he was weeping, and I was like ugly crying. It wasn't even a casual, it wasn't like a single it was like an ugly sob. And I was like, was it Pete? And he was like, and then I just turned around and left to go get the
I
dogs.
will not torture Anthony with much more of this, but I will tell you that Peter Morgan Alonso, all right, hit a home run to win a playoff series in the top of the ninth inning, while it was me, my wife, and my son, and one of my close friends who's a Mets fan, and we were at Citi Field. We had basically paid $5 to go watch the game on the freaking screen in October. And instead of staying at home, we drove to the stadium to watch it with like 10,000 other fans. I had never, ever been... Because you go to baseball games and, like, people are into it, but this was weird. This was a watch party, all right? So the people that are there are the diehard of the diehards. You could be on your couch. And when he hit that home run, I'm going to get a little bit choked up, but I got to see my son happy. Like, all the four of us were just, it was jubilation. And then obviously not just the four of us. Everybody in that stadium was sad. We were about to lose, and he turned it around. And I'll never forget the look on my wife's face and my son's face. Legitimate joy. And as a Met fan, that's not guaranteed. Like that's not.
No.
They didn't even win the World Series. That was just one playoff series, and then they ended up losing before they got to the World Series. But I don't know. I just think that that's the beauty of baseball. Like that. It's a magical moment that you can share with the people around you, and it's a moment where you disconnect from everything, and there's just pure joy. And that's what I felt at the end of Major League. When they win, every time I watch it, when Willie Mays slides home and his foot drags ever so slightly behind him and he touches that base and the guy yells, "Safe, safe," the Indians win it. It's this jubilation that everybody there has put everything away for that happiness.
Wait, I have a follow-up question to your story. So you were like, me and my family, and seeing the joy on our faces, and you kept saying the four of us. Are you including Pete as a member of your family?
No, my friend Craig.
Who's the fourth?
No, Grumpy. So it's Grumpy Greg from Brooklyn.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
I was like, I know that there's three members of his family.
So wait,
Is he including
multiple Grumpy Greg?
So wait, no,
it's
to be fair, it's Craig and I have a friend named Craig and I have a friend named Greg, and they're both slightly grumpy, and they're both teachers. So.
Wow, that's
no, I did not include Peter. I did not include Peter Morgan.
I was literally like, this is absurd. I have to call him out on this. There's three members in his family. I feel like Dakota. I'm like, are we gonna rewind this and like pause for a minute?
All right, let's bring tonight's podcast to a close. Jen, final thoughts on Major League?
I really liked it. I thought it was actually really fun and entertaining to watch. I liked seeing all the 80s hair, and I think it did capture what I'm here for when I watch baseball, which is like getting to know the players and like the weird quirkiness of your favorite team and how you get like super into all their little intricacies.
Anthony, what was your takeaway? What are your final thoughts on Major League?
It was a fun movie. Not something that I would normally watch. Sometimes, covering an episode or covering something for the podcast brings me to stuff that I've never seen before. But yeah, it was a fun watch.
I also agree. It was a fun watch. It's not something that I would have ever chosen, but I'm glad it was chosen, I guess, because it kind of took me out of my corner of things that I'm into. And it also kind of like showed me that baseball hasn't changed all that much in the past 30 years. Like it's still very, very much the same game. And it's played the exact same way, and it has the same culture, which is really impressive. I liked it. Rich, final thoughts on Major League?
I honestly just want to thank everyone who's listening and everyone who is on the show for participating in this week. This is not our normal cup of tea. This is it's my favorite movie of all time. I know it This is the Macbeth of Shakespeare for me. It's my favorite. It's something I think that is, I wouldn't quite call it timeless. I think it's cool, like, to peel back and see how something's changed. As you said, that things don't change, but the one thing that I think is that this does change as time goes on, right? And maybe it's not in this movie. I think maybe in the second movie they start selling advertising space on the outfield walls, which was like at that time garish and like uncouth for teams to do, you know,
that,
and like
that didn't happen. Okay.
you know, but I think that it shows the evolution sometimes of the capitalistic portions of the game, but at the end of the day, I think it's a part of what makes me. I think this movie in many ways defines me. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It can laugh at itself. It can admit that sometimes it's just terrible, like the players do, you know. But and I think that the heartwarming message of the underdog story is something that's always going to resonate with me because I only root for underdog.
Nice.
Yeah, and you know what? One final thought. I liked that the broadcaster. What was the guy's name?
Harry Doyle.
Harry Doyle. Yeah, I liked that he kept putting a little juice into his drink, into his concoction. You know, he had his bottle of Jameson nearby. He put a little juice in there, and I think that added a little bit of character because it kind of told you the mindset of all these the people watching the games. But to you listeners, how would you feel about giving us a juicy review, specifically a 5-star review, wherever you're listening to your podcast? No, Rich is showing me his
in the most
Ranger,
appropriate plug ever, guys. As you guys remember, we are officially sponsored by Voodoo Ranger Juice Force IPA, and it is appropriate because, as you know, Serrano was into a bit of voodoo. It seems Santeria, so Voodoo Ranger, official beer.
Still not
officially
sponsored,
unofficial beer of the podcast.
Unofficial, but very unofficial. Guys, please be sure to give us a 5-star review wherever you listen to your podcast. Make it juicy, guys. And if you want to check out any of our socials, be sure to click into the show notes down below. But this is me, Dakota, signing off for episode 155. Next week, we're covering One Piece Season 2.
Live action.
Toodaloo.
Bye.
Bye.